Thanks for tuning in to Barbershop Sports Talk.
And I just want to read you Phillip Rivers' career, okay, Ben? He was an 8-time Pro Bowler. He's number 5th in passing touchdowns all time. Number 5th in passing yards all time. Number 5 in completions all time. Number 12 in passer rating all time. Never missed a game. 252 straight starts. And he played through the 2007 AFC title game with a torn ACL. When I give you that resume, it kind of puts him in the Hall of Fame conversation, doesn't it?
Well, one could certainly argue that. I think that this is a guy that people are going to go back and forth on for a long time as to whether he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame or not. You know, I don't think anyone's going to make a quick answer about him.
And Ben, you know, I think we talked about this before. In my perfect world, he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. But Ben, I've told you, in my perfect world, Eli Manning wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. So I guess my thing is, if I'm running the Hall of Fame, neither of those two are in. But since I'm not running it, if you're going to let Eli in, to me, you have to let Phillip Rivers in.
Yeah, well, I think it just, you know, you got to go back to the criteria of what it involves. For me, I like to think about, could you have told the story of the NFL without Phillip Rivers? And I think you could. You know, for all intents and purposes, yeah, it was a stat machine for a long, long time. But at the end of the day, he was kind of insignificant as far as, you know, Super Bowls go. Even making it to the AFC Championship game. I think he only made one AFC Championship game in his career. So when you really stop and think about it from like a winning perspective, or when you think about those kind of iconic postseason moments for him, there really aren't any that come to mind. Whereas Eli Manning, who, by all intensive purposes, was not nearly the stat machine Phillip Rivers was in the regular season, had two really iconic Super Bowl trips where, you know, they beat teams both times who I kind of thought were superior to the Giants. You know, and if it happened once, you could say, okay, well, that was maybe a fluke, but he did it twice. Two kind of improbable Super Bowl runs, and to me, I think that's enough to put him in.
Well, I guess
he also had a lot of the durability that Phillip Rivers had. He started a lot of games in a row.
That is true. Eli does have that. And he played for the Giants, which helps. Phillip played for the San Diego Chargers, which obviously doesn't help as much. But if we're talking about the story of the NFL, like, for example, this is going to be an interesting debate soon. Cam Newton. Is Cam Newton a Hall of Famer then? Because I don't think you can tell the story of the NFL without Cam Newton.
In my opinion, I probably wouldn't have Cam in the Hall of Fame.
But can you tell the story of the NFL without Cam? I don't know.
I think you might be able to. I mean,
maybe.
I know we made the Super Bowl once, but you know, you've also been a proponent, Daryl, over the course of time. Okay, you've told me off air that when you evaluate some of these guys, you know, some of these coaches and players and things like that, you take out the best season and the worst season.
I did tell you that.
Take out that one season for Cam Newton, the rest of his career has been pretty pedestrian.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's fair, but I would say the same thing. I guess what I'm saying is, if we're going to compare Cam to Eli, I mean, yes, Eli has the Super Bowls, but, like, for example, like, I don't think Eli was better than Cam. Like, to me, for all intents and purposes, like, they're the same person, almost. Like, their careers aren't, like, in terms of how good they were for a sustained period of time, I don't think it's all that different. Maybe Eli did it for a little bit longer because Cam's kind of falling apart now. And Eli fell apart maybe a couple more years after this. But when Eli was bad, Eli was kind of bad like how Cam was.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he didn't really have the longevity either.
No. And he wasn't good when he first came to the league either.